It's Old Friends Week here on Amber Live tonight as we welcome back DJ Craig Mitchell. DJ, come on in.
Hello,
Hi there,
hello.
Craig.
How are you?
All right. So I'm doing well. You're going to be down at Winter Rendezvous this weekend. So have you been there before?
I've done the events when they did them at Rusty Nail, but I've not done the new venue. But I had a great time in the past, and I'm so looking forward to this year to be back playing for the crowd. So it should be a lot of fun.
It's Thursday night. You're going to be at Alfie's Wild Ride, which is a fabulous nightclub that just opened about a year ago because we had some events last year at Winter Rendezvous. But before you start DJing, you're going to be doing sound for
Debby
Holiday.
She is a she's a Billboard charting artist, vocalist, and she's doing a tribute to Tina Turner, which I mean that's going to be huge. I'm a huge Tina Turner fan, so I'm very excited about that.
She performed in P-Town last year, but I did not get around seeing her. But so many people said it was fabulous. And I know Michael Wilson, who produces Winter Rendezvous, is a big, big fan. So she must be good if she's coming there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll be talking to her later on in the show. When you DJ a semi-private party like this, how do you adjust your music? Do you have a set saying, okay, this is the music I'm going to play because I know there's going to be a bunch of gay guys or gay skiers? Or how do you choose your music?
Right. Well, and that is always in consideration. So I think about the room, what it's going to be, who's going to be there, what type of vibe that they would generally like. But then really feel it out once I get there, because sometimes I'll have a set that I think is going to be amazing. And then, whoa, and considering that I'd had a set years ago in New York City, my first big set, and I played 4 hours and I rocked this room. And then I hadn't played at 135 Pearl in a year and a half or something. And I came back and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to play that set. Well, that was a big mistake because it was the wrong room for that. So within half an hour, people kept coming in going, are you okay? And then the owner comes in and says, so this is not New York. What are you doing? And I'm like, and they finally booed me out of the booth. I learned my lesson. So I try to be as, well, it's luckily these days I have a laptop which has all my music on it. So I can read the room and decide, okay, this is working, this is not working, this is where they want to go. Okay, we found the groove. Let's go there.
Not like the days where you had to bring in crates and crates and crates of LPs, right?
Oh my goodness! When I play at the Tunnel in New York City, which was 12 hours, it would take 5 trips from the cab to get all the records in, and I'm really sore back by the end. And then getting them out at noon that was rough. But I mean, you had to be very selective with what you brought, and that room you kind of had to know the room, otherwise it's not going to work. But I'm excited to play for this room again, and you know, the times I played for this crowd, it's just been electric. And it's not often I get to play for a predominantly gay crowd. So to play some really nice vocals and some old school Deborah Cox and some Whitney Houston remixes and some Lizzo remixes and some Dua Lipa. And, so we're going to have some fun.
How many years have you been a DJ?
Oh, God. So in February, it'll be 33 years since my first paid gig.
And I was probably there if it was at Pearl's.
Yeah. Well, actually, my first gig was at St. Michael's College by mistake. I worked at the student activities office, and the DJ canceled. It was Valentine's Day weekend. And after calling around, there were not many DJs around at all, but everyone was booked. And I said, well, I guess I could do it. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I have turntables and records in my room. Like, then go get them. So then all my friends started asking me to play at Rasputin's and RJ's. And then I wrote a letter to 135 Pearl. I had gotten taken in there for Halloween a few months prior and ran out. I was scared to death. I was just, innocent kid from Michigan.
I was probably there too.
But I wrote them a letter, and with all these statistics, with the 15,000 college students in the area, and 10% of them are presumably gay. Here's the amount of money you could possibly make on a night for us. Give us one night, and I'll DJ it, and let me see. Let's try it out. And Eddie, the owner at the time, got in touch with me, and he said, you know what? Let's have a meeting. He goes, all right, you got one chance. And so we did it on a Wednesday. Maybe 3 weeks later, and I advertised at every high school, all the colleges, and we had 600 kids throughout in and out the doors the first night. It was both floors were non-alcoholic. And halfway through the night, Eddie comes over and he goes, "Tell them we're doing it again next week." I'm like, "Well, I thought," he said, "No, we're doing it next week." And such is life. There we go. And then I started doing Fridays and Saturdays, and then we became 18 plus.
You told the story about how you wrote Eddie a letter, being an entrepreneur, for pushing yourself, and that's continued throughout your career. Because tell me about some of your, for lack of a better word, side hustles that's going on now for you.
Oh boy. Well, I just had a new record released, which I'm very excited about. This guy, Matt Burr, who used to be a part of Grace Potter's The Nocturnals. He left the band and he moved to Puerto Rico and he started a studio called San Juan Sound, which is an incredible concept. It's a nonprofit. He doesn't charge artists anything to record there. It's just one of those, he films, he records, he produces, and then if you get a record deal, just remember me. Well, I was down there for a cruise in 2019 and I went by to see the studio and we went out and had lunch before I got on my cruise. And he said, "Hey, that record that I played you, do you want to do some vocals on it?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but I only have a couple hours." He goes, "We'll get it done fast. Don't worry about it." So I did a quick vocal. He brings me to the boat. And then 2 days later, I'm in St. Kitts. And I get a text going, "We're doing an album." So I was back and forth to Puerto Rico for like 6 months before the pandemic for a week at a time. But this one song called "Can't Get Enough," I kept going. It's a slow song, 75 beats per minute. It's very slow. But I'm like, you know what? This needs a disco treatment. And they're like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." But they don't get it. They're not DJs. They didn't understand. So finally, I'm like, you know what? After months and months and months, give me the parts. I'll get it done. And it finally just got released maybe 3 weeks ago. It's doing very well on the charts. It's going to be part of Promo Only's big promo, their big record pool around the country. But we're number 78 in Malta. So we're not charting here in the States, but in Malta, I'm a superstar.
That's great. And
so there's that.
On New Year's Eve, tell me what you did New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, my band played at J Peak, which the hospitality there is unbelievable. I mean, if there's 8 of us, they gave us all individual suites, which was really nice. We had a relatively sold out crowd. People were up we played for 3.5 hours and got to ring in the new year. And I mean, they pulled out all the stops with the lighting and the sound. And I mean, it was perfect. And I can't wait to play there again. It was magic. You don't get that kind of hospitality everywhere.
And this wasn't a DJ. It wasn't a DJ gig. It was your Prince show, wasn't it?
It was my Prince band, my Prince tribute band, and we call it a Prince tribute band, but it's Prince is the catalyst, but it's really about just we're jamming. I go into some gospel tunes, Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want, and then we do some James Brown stuff and George Clinton, and we've done David Bowie and Radiohead, so we mix it up with lots of stuff. So it's really what do we feel like doing right now, and let's go there.
And recreational marijuana went on sale in Vermont in October, and you have a hand in that as well.
I do. There are so far 37 stores that are licensed and opened or opening, but most of them are open already. And I'm working with Ben's Best, and Ben's Best is a brand that is the person who holds the license, the main license. I'm a licensee, and the owner is Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry's. So he was going to launch in Colorado. That fell through. He was going to launch in Massachusetts. That fell through. And he said, "You know what? We're going to bring it home." The whole mission of the brand is to be socially equitable. So the majority of the money goes towards BIPOC organizations, women organizations, and then trying to expunge the records of people who are incarcerated or get them out of jail if they're in jail for marijuana. So it's really, really exciting. And the person who is the lead licensee has to be a person of color. And luckily, he and I have been friends for a very long time. We became friends at a chili cook-off, believe it or not. Well, he came to one of my shows at Lunix, and then I was doing a chili cook-off at Nectar's. And he comes over and he's like, "This is really good chili, but I don't think you can beat my chili." I'm like, "How about you stick to your ice cream and I'll stick to my chili?" And we've been friends ever since. And when the opportunity came, he came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to be the licensee?" And I went, "Oh my God. Yeah." So now he calls me his pot partner. So people should check out the website to read the full mission. It's bensbest.com.
How super! How super! And you're king of Winooski. Winooski is a small town just outside of Burlington, and you're not officially mayor, but you do a lot for it.
I try. I love this town. It's the most diverse town in the state of Vermont. And they let me be free with doing doing things. So we had our first gay pride this year, which with 3.5 weeks of preparation, we had 650 some odd people come to our pride. Next year it's going to be bigger and better and wilder. And I have a whole idea of a drum line going in and out of the neighborhoods, and then finally making their way to the Rotary. We had Myra Flynn this year. My band's played there. We had oh God, he was on. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, Josh Panda, who was on the NBC show Songwriters, he performed this year.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was like huge. And then I started Downtown Winooski with some folks. So Downtown Winooski is an organization that just through selling T-shirts and taking donations, we raise money for BIPOC organizations, including Heartland Foundation, which deals with the mental health of women of color around the country. We've raised about $100,000 thus far, again, just through donations and T-shirts. So it's very exciting.
And I want to toot my own horn and your horn too. Coming up on February 18th, you're going to be DJing, performing at the annual Winter is a Drag Ball, February 18th at Higher Ground. Looking forward to that, you and Yolanda, and we have a bunch of other acts. It's going to be a great night of entertainment. But first, it's this Thursday night at Alfie's Wild Ride when you open up with Debby Holiday and her tribute to Tina Turner. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, Craig. Can't wait to see you in person.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a gracious, nice person Craig Mitchell is. I love him.